I don't know if he is a bookie still.
Oh,
he
okay,
was
okay.
a bookie.
I know which one you're talking about.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we heard that.
Yeah. Well, big surprise of bookies named Jimmy.
The first thing I wanted to talk about was David Lipsky. Do you guys know? Have you heard of that name before?
No, I hadn't, and I didn't get this bet in that you're talking about.
Yeah. So this bet, it got put out late at night, and I should check the other one. It was actually, there was 2 bets that came through, but I don't like to tell everybody to bet 2 bets that are both winners. So it's just to let everybody know, it's for the Memorial Tournament that's going on right now. The round 3 just ended. It's a plus 10,000. So the bet is David Lipsky to win is plus 10,000. At the time, it was after round 1. He was -3 and the leader was -6. And now he's -6 and he's tied with Rory McIlroy. So he's probably going to be playing with Rory tomorrow. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to play with Rory at the Memorial on Sunday and to beat him. But it's plus 10,000 that when we got it. And I just want to know if anybody out there, any of our customers on Dub Club, if anybody got this bet in, hit me up, text me. Everybody's got my number. Text me because I want to know. I hope at least one person got this bet in.
I saw it and I was like, those ones, throw a couple bucks on it, like whatever. It's not a huge deal. And because I told you that thing that happened with Pavada with me last week where they took all my money, where it would be where I would place that bet, because that'd be one of the sites that would have that bet, and Bet Online doesn't have it. Like after that first day starts, there's like basically just matchups left to bet on there.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I mean, I like all those long shots.
Me too. They're fun.
They're fun. Yeah. So I know I'm looking at Jake right now, and Jake's like,
he doesn't like.
I don't like fun. I don't like fun.
I don't tell Jake about those bets.
If you find value
until he's leading the tournament.
If you find value, go with it, man. I trust you.
And there is value in it. And I wanted to check. So the other one was what's his name? Oh my gosh. I totally messed up.
That you bet before the tournament?
Not before that. That was Siwoo Kim. So
yeah.
So that's interesting that you bring that up. So, and because I'll tell Jake about a bet that we have, and this comes into a little bit later. This kind of brings up the topic that I want to tell you, Kris. I want to blow up the show. I want to change. I want to get rid of the $10,000 bankroll, and I want to add something else into it.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about that later.
Okay.
So I want to get rid of the $10,000. I think you're going to like it because you're always pushing it towards the end of the show.
Yeah, just not. I think it's such a long-term strategy that talking about it every week, it kind of defeats the purpose of a long-term strategy. Like if you were on if you had an investment show and you had an investment that was 5 years out, you wouldn't talk about it on every episode. But I think it's good to update people on it unless you guys are completely getting rid of it.
Okay. So to get back to the $10,000, the plus 10,000, and I gave it 1 star. If you follow us, if you're a customer of us, you know that these long shots, I usually put them at 1/10 or 1/5 of a star. A 0.1 unit, that would be. But this one I gave 1 star for a plus 10,000. It was either between David Lipsky or Lee Hodges, and Lee Hodges is in second, and that was plus 30,000.
Holy shit!
And he's in second right now.
Wow.
Then there's Siwoo Kim. Kris, you mentioned Siwoo Kim. So, just to give a little background. Me and Jake, we live in California. We can't do all these bets. That $10,000 bankroll is a hypothetical. It's not our actual bank account, but we are illegally now betting in the state of California. We've put together 3 bookies, and we're making illegal bets. And we put together a $5,000 bankroll where we're placing bets. Now, all the customers for You Bet Smart, they got the first round leader on Siwoo Kim. If you got that pick, he didn't win in the first round. That one lost. But the only bet that our personal bank account got, Jake doesn't know this because I don't tell him about the big ones, is Siwoo Kim. That I couldn't find on our bookies the first round leader, so I just bet him to win the whole tournament, and it's plus 6,000. And David Lipsky and Rory McIlroy are tied with Siwoo Kim at -6.
I got the Kim bet in.
But that's a first round leader bet. Did you do it for the tournament?
No, I didn't. I did it for the first round. Damn it.
So yeah, all of our customers got the first round leader. We had to bet it as the whole thing because our bookies don't allow first round leaders.
Yeah.
So we got the whole tournament. So our customers want David Lipsky to win. We couldn't get that bet because it was on FanDuel.
Okay.
But we got Siwoo Kim.
Okay.
And they're both tied for the lead of the tournament with one of the biggest golfers in the history of golf.
Wow, that's a big event.
So it's either Siwoo Kim and we win. It's either David Lipsky and our customers win, or freaking Rory McIlroy makes us all sad.
Is it fucked up to say that I want Lipsky to win so all the customers win instead of you guys?
So you know what's weird is
that's not.
I think I want that.
Yeah, I do too.
I would rather them win.
Yeah.
Because I know that, like, in the long run, this bankroll that we started, like, it's gonna be fine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want the customers.
I'm rooting for them too.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to know if anybody texts me, if any of our customers, you have my number. If you got that, I hope. If nobody got the bet in, then Siwoo Kim all day long.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to know if anybody got the bet in. Like, it's been kind of quiet. I even want to, like, personally text everybody.
Yeah.
Did you get that in? Did you get that in?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like poking at a scab. Like, what if they didn't? And they're like, God, you guys have been in a little bit of a slump. And then now this can make, if David Lipsky wins and somebody got that in, it's 100 units. So it makes up for all of the last 6 weeks. We're reset back 6 weeks
insane.
ago.
Jeez.
So I hope somebody got it in.
Yeah, and you also don't want to text him in case they did bet on it, and then he shits the bed, and it's like talking about a no-hitter when it's going on. You just like don't bring it up.
So, and this comes out on Tuesday, so nobody's gonna hear this till Tuesday, and then they'll text on Wednesday. So maybe I'll just wait till he wins, and then I'll be like, "Hey, please tell me you got that in."
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Reach out to. I don't know. I don't.
But
think
then what if they didn't?
Yeah,
get it in?
this is the opposite. No,
so you can't reach out.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Maybe
that's what's going on tomorrow. So I almost feel like, what do you guys? We might need to, like, watch this tournament.
Dude,
tomorrow.
I want to watch that. What time?
It's Memorial Tournament. So the leaders, I can check it out. They went off. The leaders went off at 10:30 today. It'll probably be the same thing. Yes. So yeah. So it looks like it's gonna be Rory. No, it looks like it's gonna be David Lipsky. Yeah. Sorry. Rory McIlroy and Siwoo Kim are playing together. They go off at 10:35. David Lipsky is the second to last group, which actually helps out David. He doesn't have to play with Rory. He's not in the last group. So that he doesn't have as much pressure on him. He's playing with Denny McCarthy. They're going off at 10:25. And then you got Victor Hovland's right behind him. He's tied with Lee Hodges, which is the plus 30,000. There's a lot of guys in the running. I mean, within the first, there's 13 guys within 3 shots. So, like, anything could happen, but David Lipsky's playing really well, and he's like set to pop. He was my Scotty Scheffler of last year. Last year, I was betting Scotty Scheffler all the time, and I was getting pissed off because for whatever reason, the telecast would never show him. And now he's the #1 golfer in the world. And now they're showing him. But I would get so pissed off. I would text my dad. I go, Dad, if Scotty Scheffler wins, I win $6,000, and they won't show him on TV. Like, what the hell is going on?
Damn.
Anyways,
do you think it's a random coincidence that you got these 2 beers right before tomorrow's event?
I think it has something to do with it. So we got 2 beers. What we're doing is we are trying to fill out the California state here with all the beers. And the 2 beers that we got are Victory and Luck.
Lucky Buddha?
Lucky Buddha, right? Is that what it's called?
This. Yeah, it's harder. Jesus.
I know. It's
retarded.
All right, you guys both got victories up there.
Okay, so that's Victory, and then Jake's got Luck. It's Lucky Buddha and Victory. Buddha. And those are the beers that we had for this week. And it could be maybe that's it.
I mean, if let's say he wins, like we're gonna have to buy like a big supply of those and drink at least one for every episode.
We might have to just drink those beers.
Yeah,
for the
I
rest
know.
of the
Just
time.
fill up that whole California, pull every one of the rest of them.
Yeah,
off,
and it's just like luck.
and then
that would be cool.
And then if we'll get another beer, and if another long shot like that wins, then it stays on the board until another one comes. Like start from the top and just slowly fill it down, one per episode.
So you said if he wins, what he were you talking about?
Any of the two.
Any of the two. Okay.
Yeah, either of the two.
Either one of those guys.
Yeah.
And then this is a good segue to talk about getting rid of the $10,000 bankroll. Jake's still on the fence, so I should say that first, that he hasn't committed quite yet. I was just me like trying to sell him on this, but we'll talk about that for a second. But first I want to say what's on the back of this, because when I was looking for these beers at Bevmo, I was reading the labels, and on the back of Lucky, it says on the back of Lucky Buddha, it says, according to ancient internet proverbs, many people believe that you receive your luck with your left hand. So maybe I'm always drinking my beer with my left hand. So maybe we got to drink with our left hand the rest of the podcast.
Are you primarily left-handed?
I'm not. I'm right-handed, but I always drink my beer with my left hand.
I think I do too. That's weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people do that. You have the beer in your left hand right now.
Well, he's ambidextrous.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's whatever. It might be just because on this podcast, everything's over on my right.
Yeah.
And then so I'm getting my liquid courage on
this
the left side.
This is a little off subject, but just bringing up the ambidextrous thing. There's a high school kid that's ambidextrous quarterback. So
Is he the new guy that's at Huntington Beach High School?
I don't know much about him. I'll have to look. I just popped in my head, but I've seen videos of him.
That's such a huge advantage.
Yeah, because you could roll left, roll right.
And he throws
left and throws right. And he throws just as well with both hands.
I've never heard of,
but I don't know how good his arm strength is or anything. Well, there's a couple ambidextrous pitchers, but they changed the rules in baseball where it doesn't the hitter gets to choose which side, which I think is stupid.
The hitter gets to choose the side?
Yeah, the hitter gets to choose the side. Yeah.
Huh. But what about Jim Abbott? Then wouldn't you choose the other side? And then go well,
not if you can't.
You can't pitch.
No,
if you don't have an arm.
No,
I guess I walked.
They get to choose what
side of the plate.
Yeah, the side of the plate, not which arm. I want his
I
right
would
arm.
I would like Jim Abbott to throw with that arm.
Yeah, no,
I'd be like, he'd be screwed.
They choose what side of the plate they stand on.
Okay.
You know what? I actually met Jim Abbott when I was a kid, walking out of the stadium, and
nice guy.
I went to go get his autograph, and then after he signed the ball, I remember I wanted to go shake his hand, but I got too nervous because I don't know. I forgot which hand was gone, but I got
would have been his right. I would have been his right hand. Yeah, we would have tried to shake his
nub.
nub.
So yeah, exactly. So
and what happened? You tried to shake the
wrong
I
just had the instinct to try to shake his hand, and then I remembered that he didn't have a hand on.
I'm sure that happens to him all the time.
I'm sure. Yeah. Did he have a little phrase that he always a joke that he says about it?
I don't know. I think I pulled back right away, and I was so embarrassed. I was just a kid, so I don't know.
I have a story about meeting Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, both of those, because I was huge into golf when I was a kid. Yeah. I played high school golf. Kris is there's no way. Kris saw me play, but I played terrible that day.
You played terrible, and
I played really bad.
You can see when someone's golfing if they're good or not. Or not good, but they can play. They've got a good swing. I played. That was although I haven't golfed since then because, other than the golf that we're going to talk about. I think you won that day, though. Either you or Mike did. My buddy Mike.
Yeah, Mike might have won, but God, that haunts me. I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and just in a sweat because of how bad I played that day.
I just went and played with JR, our buddy JR, last Thursday. I hadn't played since the end of September of last year because I had played 3 straight rounds that were just terrible. And last year I played once a week, at least went to the driving range or played around. And I played so bad in those 3 straight rounds that I just was I'll take a little break, and it ended up being 7 months. But
that's what I did too. We got to get back in because it's summertime.
I did pretty good though for not playing forever. I was terrible for the front 9, and then I parred 3 out of 4 holes on the back 9.
Nice.
And then fell apart again.
Yeah, that's what happens in golf. But so Tiger Woods, he grew up in the neighboring city that we're in right now in Cerritos. The college that he went to is right down the street. It's like 5 minutes from here. So his coach was John Anselmo when he was a little kid. In fact, he grew up, if anybody saw the documentary about Tiger, he grew up on the Navy course, which is in my neighborhood.
Is that on Netflix or no?
Yes, it's really good. It is a 2-part series.
Okay.
One of my favorite documentaries ever.
Wow.
Because what it did is it won me back on Tiger. So my entire life, I hated Tiger Woods, and I'll tell you the story in a second. But I hated him my entire life. When I saw this documentary, it gave an excuse for his life and like why he was such an asshole. And so I understood him, and now I like him again.
Okay.
All because of the documentary. I had this lifelong hatred towards Tiger Woods because of my personal interactions with him. And then the documentary, I was like, oh, well, like, yeah, of course, like he acted that way. Like anybody would.
His dad,
because of his dad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so they grew up he grew up on the Navy course. You can get to the Navy course through my neighborhood. But the other side of this neighborhood pops out on the course that he grew up on. Okay. So his coach, when he was younger, one of the coaches that he had was John Anselmo. He was a professional at Metal Art Golf Course in Huntington Beach. And best player on Marina golf team, Marina High School is where I went, was Scott Osterhout. And he was our number 1. I was the number 6 guy. I was the alternate on the high school team. He was one of my good friends, and he just like convinced me. I stopped playing basketball, and he's like, I had to play a sport. My parents were like, you have to play a sport. He's like, I can get you on the golf team. So you can get on the golf team. And I was the alternate. So if one of the other guys could like dropped out, I would play, and they would count my score if one of the other guys, something happened to the other 5 guys. So Scott Osterhout, Scotty, we call him Scotty O. He's like, I got to get you some lessons. So my coach is Tiger Woods' coach. It's John Anselmo. So my coach was John Anselmo, and that's how I like learned how to play golf. And then so in like 1999, we were 18 years old. Tiger was probably, I don't know, I would say like 24, 25. This is peak Tiger. It's like peak Tiger. They're playing that skins game in Palm Springs. And John's like, do you guys want to go? He just picked out me and Scott. He picked out Scotty O. And he's like, who do you want to bring with you? And he brought me with him. And we're like, we'll go down there, and then we'll like hang out and everything. So we go down there, we follow him the whole skins game. And it's like leading up to meeting Tiger. It's like leading up. And then John's like his one of his coaches, his childhood coach. And he's like, hey, Tiger, I want you to meet Scott and Scott. These are 2 of my disciples now, like 2 of the guys that I coach now. And Tiger looks at us, and he just like looks away. Like I think I put my hand out to like shake his hand, and he just looked away. He didn't even like guess the time of day. And when you're a kid,
yeah,
and that happens, like that forms your way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I'll back that up with like my dad used to take me to different golf events. They used to have the match play golf event down in Carlsbad at La Costa in Carlsbad. And me and my dad would go every year. And after one of the rounds, Phil Mickelson was coming up. This is like height of Phil Mickelson. He was like 25 years old. I was a kid. He was like coming up off of 18. If you've ever golfed at La Costa, there's a hill that comes up, and I went up to him and I was like, Phil, can you, after he did his round, and I like broke through the pack, and I went up to him. I was like, hey, can you sign this? And he's like, hey, I can't sign it right now because I just did my round. I need to go sign my card. I still have like stuff I have to do. But if you meet me here in like 30 minutes, I'll sign it for you.
Wow.
So the difference between Tiger's reaction to me and Phil's reaction to me, that's why I've been like Team Phil my entire life. Until the documentary. When I saw the documentary on Tiger, I was like, well, I at least understand what he went through.
Yeah.
He had a dad that put him through hell. So like he didn't know how to like respond to that. He was kind of like a robot. He was like a golf robot.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, that shit's well, you were kind of a kid still. You were in
I was a kid. I was in
yeah.
high school,
Yeah.
and then the Phil thing was a little bit younger. That actually happened before the Tiger thing. So yeah, I was a kid.
Oh, so yeah, especially when you're a kid, though, so that the Phil thing happens first, and then
Tiger, I was like, fuck Tiger,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah. But you get older, and then you see something like that, and you're like, oh, I kind of get it now. It still doesn't excuse being a dick. I've never heard he's a dick either, which is weird. Like maybe he's just nice to people that matter.
Maybe,
but he's a dick to people that aren't, so it never comes out that he's a dick.
And the thing is like we had a vouch. It's not like we just went up to him randomly. Yeah. It was his childhood coach.
Did he shake his hand and talk to the coach?
Yeah, he talked to the coach, and we just like stood off to the side, and then we like slowly kind of went back. And
do you think he kind of like looked at you guys and he was like, "These guys will never make it on the tour.
Well,
I don't need to waste my time with them."
You know what's another? So this is the thing that I remember from that. So John got us back, like kind of like backstage or whatever for golf. And Tom Lehman was one of the golfers. The Skins game out in Palm Springs, there's only 4 golfers. Tom Lehman was like a really big golfer in the late 90s. And John I think he knew that like, oh man, these guys their hearts are broken. So he got us. So Tom Lehman, what he does is he goes out to the range after the round and he hits like 750 balls. Like that's his thing. It's like 10 buckets. His thing was, I'm going to hit 10 buckets every single day after my round. Like that's insane to hit 10 buckets after the round. And so John got us to sit. He talked to Tom, and me and Scotty O got to sit behind Tom Lehman, like right behind him, like 5 feet or whatever, so we were not getting hit by the club. And we watched Tom Lehman hit golf balls, and he would come back and like talk to us and be like, so what'd you guys think about that shot? Like what happened with that? Like we had like an hour like kind of lesson from Tom Lehman that day. Heck? So that was like, I remember that for like the rest of my life. It was really cool. That's awesome. And I became a Tom Lehman fan.
Nice,
that's awesome.
Man. That's a really cool story.
Yeah. Let's see if I can think of other stories.
I don't have any good sports related stories. I have one about 2 guys. So I used to valet, and I worked at a hotel in Irvine, and they remember the Fox Sports Grill.
Yeah.
Okay. They opened one of those, and a bunch of celebrities came and stayed at our hotel. So the Olsen twins stayed there. They went to the Fox Sports party because they had like a party for it. They came back.
What year was this?
Shit, like 02.
Oh, so this is like height of Olsen. So they must have been young.
They were already like, they were like 22, but they like were out of the public eye by then. Oh, okay. But they still went to the parties, and they came back to the hotel hammered. They were nice.
Did they look attractive like at that age?
Yeah, I mean they were about my age, so yeah,
they must not have been, because you're not like
they looked like emaciated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they're too skinny.
I
like thicker girls, so yeah, they're probably not.
Yeah, you got something to grab onto.
You need something to grab onto. Yeah.
Steve Lyons, that is ex-baseball player.
Yeah.
So he was one of the funny things that happened that time. He pulls up in his Porsche, okay, and it's a really nice Porsche, super fast. And he's like, hey, be careful. It's very fast. So you're expecting to get in there, and it's got a stick shift, right? Because that's a very, very fast car with a stick shift is very hard to drive. Get in there, and he had redone it, and it's an automatic. He had paid to have his Porsche because those Porsches or whatever.
He couldn't drive stick.
I don't know, but it was just all the valet guys would always laugh at like when someone would pull up with a car and be like, be careful with it. We'd be like, I hope it's not an automatic, like, because you don't think of like automatic as being like a scary thing to drive. Snoop Dogg's manager came in one time with like a $500,000 Rolls Royce, and he said, don't fucking drive it. Like, I don't want anyone driving it. Leave it up front. And this guy I worked with, Jesse's like, I'm just going to take it around the parking garage.
Wow.
He takes it around the parking garage, and it's super low to the guy had it lowered, and there were curbs in there, and he takes a turn just a little too tight and scrapes the fucking side of it.
Oh,
and fucking, no way. I had to pull it back up, had to talk to that guy.
So why did you tell him? Why didn't he?
No, I didn't have to talk to him.
Oh,
Jesse did. I was like, I'm fucking out of here. My shift's over. But the
Yeah.
biggest weirdo was Jillian Barbary. You remember her?
I remember her.
So everyone else just came through the front, and all of a sudden, like, there's security coming out, and we're like, oh, we have a VIP guest that doesn't want to come in through the front because she doesn't want to be bothered by people. We're like, who the fuck is it? So one of the guys went in and just sat inside and saw it was, and it was fucking Jillian Barbary, and everyone's like, what the fuck?
So she was just by herself?
She was, coming to the hotel, but she didn't want to come through the front because she thought everyone would bother her. And
okay.
The Olsen twins were there, and like Snoop Dogg. I think Snoop Dogg was there. The guys from Incubus were there. Like people that are kind of more famous than her. And she's the only one that went through the side. Everyone else came through the front.
She had a little run for a while. Was she music or sports? She was a sports commentator, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I was actually on her show.
Oh, really?
Remember that? So she had a show called the Fifth Wheel. No, it wasn't that. It was I can't remember what it was called, but basically two guys would go, a girl would go out on a date, and two of her ex-boyfriends would be on the date, and they'd be talking into the headset of the other person, on the guy on the date with the girl. Yeah. It's like two exes would be talking to the guy that's trying to date their ex.
Oh,
and I went on with my buddy Casey. I wasn't even planning on going on, but just the two girls were like, we're gonna go down and try it out for this reality show. I was like, I'll cruise with. We went down there, and the one girl like chickened out, and they're like, well, we still gotta like try to put something together. Like, I was bullshitting with a producer in the back, and they're like, you'd be great on the show. And I have no interest in being like on TV, especially like a reality TV show. So like 3 weeks later, we went down there, and I had to pretend I was her ex boyfriend, and Casey was just fucking her at the time. Like, they weren't even like exes. So we both had to pretend we were their ex while she's going on a date with a guy, and we're in the headset of the guy that's on the date with her.
So you're the ex of the girl.
Yeah.
And she's on a new date.
She's on a new date with a guy
that you don't know.
He's got random guy. He's got an earpiece in, and we're allowed to talk to him.
You're allowed to talk to the guy.
Yeah. So the whole time we're just like saying stuff to him.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, run.
I remember watching that.
Make her do this. Not weird shit, but like, she used to be a cheerleader. They had a paid comedian around it. So I said a lot of funny stuff that day. I don't consider myself like super funny, but I had some good one-liners. They had a paid comedian with us, and as soon as I would say something funny, I'd have the crew laughing. He would be like, okay, now say this to her. And it would just be like dead silence. It wasn't good. And then when we go back to watch the episode, none of the funny shit I said was in there.
Oh, no.
All the fucking stupid shit that he made us say was in there.
Okay.
Luckily, you can't find it on the internet anywhere.
You can't. I was going to say you
I've looked every year. I try to find it again, and there's no copies. You can find like clips of the show on there, but you can't find our episode.
If we find it, we should put it on the Twitter podcast
or the YouTube.
Dude, I don't want to see it because it was embarrassing to watch it. Like,
do you remember the name? Oh, you don't remember the name? Do you remember the name of the comedian?
No, back then I didn't watch much comedy, so I didn't even think to like look this guy back. That was a long time ago. There wasn't internet like there is today for all the kids out here.
Well, we could check it out later, but man, that's so interesting. Have you been on
Extreme Dating? That's what it was called.
I think I remember.
Yeah, it was kind of popular. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
What was it on? Was it on
probably like Fox or something?
I remember that. Oh wow, there's got to be a way we can find that.
Yeah, the funniest part, I don't know if our buddy Casey listens, but he was like fucking her at the time, and the whole time, like, you could tell he was getting jealous. He was getting jealous, like that this guy might hook up with her, because she was kind of the girl that would hook up with the.
Is that right? Okay,
yeah.
Oh my god,
Jake would probably remember. I don't want to say her name on here.
No, you can't say her name. You can say her first name.
She was super nice, but she got around.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Every group of guys has like a girl that just got around to everybody.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. So what's her name?
In case she's listening.
And what's her phone number? No. Oh yeah, I'm married, right?
That's all right.
Just kidding. All right. Can I tell you about this $10,000 bankroll idea that I have about scrapping it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know exactly like what I was really on something that night when I was like trying to sell this to you, Jake.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like I had some good points. Hopefully I can bring them up in the spot right now.
Yeah.
So I want to scrap the $10,000 bankroll. I want to get rid of it because the reason why is I can just hear my wife right now. She's probably so pissed because that's like her favorite part. She's like, you guys gotta, it was her idea to bring the $10,000 bankroll to the front of the show. And she's probably doubly pissed because I just asked for that girl's number. And then, so I could just hear her right now. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? So I want to get rid of the $10,000 bankroll. The reason why is because it's hypothetical. It's a hypothetical bankroll, so it feels not real. And then we just started this $5,000 bankroll but it's a combined, it's not combined 20, it's a combined 5,000 because we found some guys that are willing to take our bets and they have a really good player props on these bets. Yeah. Hopefully they don't listen to the show. But and we can replace it with that. Jake made a good point. He's like, but that sounds like this $10,000 bankroll you built, which is actually $20,000 bankroll. You built it up to 60,000. It's come back to 30,000. And now you want to bail? Won't that look bad? And I get that, but we're not bailing because we were replacing it with something. So we could talk about two things. We could talk about our real bankroll that we're going to try to build up into something. And then the $10,000 bankroll, we've taken all of those statistics and we've transferred them into Twitter units, which I hate that phrase, Twitter units, but units that everybody talks about. Mm-hmm. So we have all those units. We can still talk about those units. Like all of those bets are going to be in units. And Jake made a good point. He said, I would rather talk about it as ROI, like return on investment. So instead of talking about units, we can talk about what's the return on your investment, but we have all that information. So we're not like throwing it away. We're not running from our losing streak. Yeah. It's still there. Another thing is, I don't know if this goes against what I was just saying, but all of a sudden I got the TikTok voice. This Scott here came out of nowhere. Follow us on TikTok, by the way. No, so if you're a customer of ours, if you're a customer on Dub Club and you follow us on our units, which we call stars, all of our stars are about, as of today, they're probably around plus 160 stars. We're like plus 160 stars on the year. Our bankroll is like plus 60 because we were really risky. I was telling Jake at certain points, like, hey, let's do this. And then we like collapse. But like, if you're a customer, you actually didn't experience, other than you, Kris, because you came in at the wrong time. But like, if you were a customer from the beginning, you didn't experience what we experienced on the $10,000 bankroll. Yeah. You're still up like 160 units, even though our $10,000 bankroll is up like, it's now up 100 units. If you're looking at it in units, am I making any sense right now?
Yeah, you are. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So you bring up great points, and it made me think about our approach because we're always trying to find the most efficient way of doing everything, and you constantly gotta re-examine your way to find better solutions or whatever. So I was thinking that basically we can back test the different methods and find out which ones work the best. Obviously, if we would have done only 1 star is 1% of your bankroll, and if you would have kept that constant and not done this staggered method that we were doing before, then you would actually be up significantly higher. So basically, there's different approaches. Like before, we were doing a kind of like what I would consider a staggered approach, where once you double your bankroll, you double your bet size. That's how the bankroll dashboard is coded right now. But if you would have just bet a consistent 1% for 1 star, 2% for 2 star, like we recommend, and you would have kept that consistent each day, then you'd be up significantly higher right now.
Can I correct that
Yeah.
just real quick?
Yeah.
It's actually not that. It's not like, let's say let's say a person had $1,000 bankroll and they bet 1% one day and it went up to 1,100.
Yeah.
And then they bet 1% of the 1,100. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I got you.
That's actually not what we do, though.
Okay.
We don't do it that way. We do it as like your bankroll is stagnant. Right? Isn't that what, like, if as a customer, that's what you're looking at?
So I brought that up on a previous episode about if I start with $1,000 and so that first day I'm doing $10 bets per star and everything. The next day it gets down to 900 or it gets up to 1,100. Would that be called like proportional bankroll or like what? There should be a term for that. Because me personally, that's actually what I've started doing. Is literally that day, whatever the bankroll is, I'm betting 1 star per 1% on the actual bankroll that I have for that day. Then the next day, if it goes down a little bit, then I'm breaking it back. And then if it goes up, then I'm going up a little bit. I think that's a better way to do it. I think you still do the $10,000 bankroll, but is there a way to do it with proportional for that day? When you start that day and you make the bet, that's what the percentage is that you're going to bet. I think with the way you guys are doing it too. I mean, you got it. It should be easy, right? To figure that out.
I could code it in different ways. So like there's the way we're using it right now. I could code it. I mean, it's already kind of coded to where you can do the Twitter units right now.
The interesting thing though, that you make a really good point is most people do it that way.
Yeah. And
that's why we should switch from the $10,000 bankroll to the units, because the units is that way. And that's what everybody's doing. So they'll understand that way a little bit better.
So that's when honestly with my bankroll is when I got in trouble is I got up to, because we were doing really well. You guys are doing really well. And then that was my new marker that I was going to bet. And then one bad day turned into 2 bad days.
And you didn't bring it down.
4 bad days. And then I brought it down. I'm like, well, my bankroll's this, but it's only been 4 days. Like, I didn't bring it down enough. I think for most people, I think that's a better way to try to manage your bankroll is every day when you wake up, bet the 1% of per star of what your bankroll is that day, in my opinion.
And so that's what we would replace it. We would replace this $10,000 bankroll into the units that everybody who's a customer who's listening, they're based off the units. We're over here talking about this $10,000 bankroll, but it's different than these units.
And it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And the only other thing I was going to say is the reason why we had the $10,000 bankroll is for marketing. It's interesting. It's fun. We're going to turn this $10,000 into $1 million. And that's very interesting. So we can also do that because now we have this account, these 3 accounts that we found bookies that are willing to place our bets in the state of California. It's a little mysterious because like we're illegally doing it, but we've created this like $5,000 account and we can still turn that into something. So the real money thing we can turn into something, but then also we're talking about what our customers are going through in these units.
Yeah, I think when a customer hears like $10,000 bankroll and it's to this or that, like you can understand it, but what does that have to do with me?
I don't know. The one thing though is that we're trying to build this bankroll with the customer so they're getting our picks and they're growing their account with us. A lot of our picks we're going to be doing on our own. They can't even get the same lines as us. So we're going to be doing picks that they can't get. So they're not really experiencing the same ride with us too.
For sure. So the units that's why we have to keep the unit. What if we just do both?
Stars? Yeah, do both.
Do
That's
both.
what I was saying. And then the 10,000 bankroll only gets updated. We only talk about it every couple episodes and bring it up and then instead of every episode, we got to talk about that.
But we could talk about what the customers are going through.
Yeah, units.
And or star. We call them stars, units, same stars, thing.
Yeah.
But like we talk about that with the customers because they know that.
Yeah.
And then we can like periodically talk about this like personal bank account that we've
like, hey, we've been doing well, so we upped our bankroll this week. And so that account, the $10,000 bankroll is now at da 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 da. And or we're pulling back a little bit now because we had a little bad run. Just you don't have to update it every week, but I think the stars is what will people that are customers of you guys, they need to hear that.
Yes, that's what I think.
Which is when we put it out anywhere on the internet, we never talk about the $10,000 bankroll.
We don't.
It's never I'm up 140 grand or whatever.
We always talk about the stars.
Yeah, because that's what people understand.
Should match everything up. That was another point that I made that night. Thank you, Kris. That was the other point. Is I was like, everything that it should all match. The podcast should match our social media.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about two different things and it's weird.
Yeah, because if I try to go on the internet and say we're up, our $10,000 bankroll is now up to your peak was like 70 grand. People will be like, kind of look at that. And when I see that on the internet, I kind of get a little wary about it.
You know what's the interesting thing is back then is when all that was happening and we were growing it and we were like, the peak was 70 grand. I think it was a little under that, but whatever. Yeah. Same thing. We weren't gaining that many customers. We've actually gained more customers during this losing streak.
Although we were just starting, I could have put that
been
out of a little bit more. Yeah. Dude, let's just do both. Let's do both. Just but
the $10,000 bankroll, I think, should scrap, and it should be the stars or units that we talk about, and then. If something interesting happens in our personal bank account that we've started, because it is interesting because we have to do it illegally. That's interesting to me. That's interesting.
So randomly, you guys brought up that you're using a couple bookies now. I randomly thought about this other night. Could we get a bookie to come on here?
I think so.
We don't have to show his face or anything. We'll black him out. Put
I think we can.
Your devil.
Oh yeah, man! I don't want him. That's a cool voice. I don't want him having that.
I might know someone that is a bookie.
I know someone that's a bookie too.
Would he come on?
We can get bookies on.
But you guys,
I work with one.
Would you think he would come on?
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. I'll ask him.
We don't have to show his face.
Does he listen?
Him out.
We'll have to use that devil voice.
Yeah, well, devil voice him. Yeah.
Does he listen?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, we'll devil voice him. Ask him if he wants to come on because I have a shit ton of questions for someone that's a bookie. I think this would be a great guest.
We should do it.
Yeah. Okay. So
let's try it.
All right. That's the goal. Pete Rose 1, bookie 2.
I'll ask both the bookies. I'll ask my bookies.
Okay.
You don't think they're gonna get weirded out?
And then you got the one. So we got 3 total.
We can interview. I'll see if he's I know he was.
So if you have one, can we add him to the?
I don't know if he is a bookie still. He was a bookie.
I know which one you're talking about.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we heard that.
Yeah. Well, big surprise of bookie's named Jimmy.
Yeah, it could be any Jimmy.
Yeah.
Damn. So we could have like
the name of my 2 bookies.
We could have a bookie podcast.
Dude, that'd be amazing if we could get a bookie on.
We can have a whole series.
Yeah.
Just have them all on every week.
Have you ever seen the white soft underbelly on YouTube?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. This guy, he interviews just like prostitutes, bookies, murderers. Yeah.
That's
I know this isn't a recommendation, but
too.
Yeah, in LA. It's a great podcast.
You're kind of recommending it.
Yeah, it is recommendation.
He was on Rogan.
Yeah, he went on Rogan, but I had been watching him for like 2 years before that. Like he started out, he had like a painting studio downtown LA or a photography. I don't know, but there used to be a bunch of homeless people down there. He's like, why don't I just like bring them in here? And he set up like a chair they sit on, and he's never on camera. It's just on them the whole time. And he asks them questions and he's very good at it. And yeah, it's called Soft White Underbelly. Great.
What does it have to do with bookies?
He has had a bookie on before.
Oh, he had a bookie on. Okay. I wanted to know what the connection was.
Does it have to do with bookies?
No. Try not to ask that.
Yeah.
I come across like an asshole sometimes, so I try not to. Okay. So we still didn't get Jake's vote on the 10,000. So what I told Jake originally, I was like, hey, because I had a wild hair up my ass. Is it across your ass or up your ass?
Up your ass.
It's up your ass. Okay. And I was like, I was really trying to push it. And so at the time I said, we can even do a poll because we do all these polls. We could do a poll. But I realized today, nobody's going to know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
In the poll.
That's exactly, that gets back to what I was saying about no one knows. Like we went from 10,000 to 60,000. They're like,
should we do the $10,000 bankroll or should we scrap it? Everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, the 6 people that we got listened to our show that we got from Twitter. Like,
it won't like cost us anything to keep it right now because it's already hooked up to our dashboard. So,
but the dashboard could be. I know.
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's your biggest thing is you're proud of this dashboard, and you should be because it is sick.
Yeah.
And I think if we just switch it to the unit or the stars, it's actually already on stars.
Yeah, it is.
You don't even have to do anything.
I know, but yeah, what you brought up is a good point though. Is right now I could hook up the same dashboard to 3 different methods. It could be hooked up to the one it is right now. It could be hooked up to the Twitter units because it is. And then we could also hook it up to like the Kelly criterion, like a quarter Kelly, half Kelly, and full Kelly. And we can graph all of them and we can look at over time which one would have done better. Because right now it's a small sample size. We've only done it over 5-6 months or something. So because one style is doing better than the other doesn't necessarily mean that that's better over the long run. But if we track like 3, 4, 5 different strategies and we graph them all and we look over years, then we can just see which one's more efficient.
I love that you threw in another one. Kris, do you know about the Kelly criterion?
I've heard you guys talk about it, and I don't remember exactly what
it's supposed
is,
to be the most efficient bet size.
Yeah, I hear people talking about it.
Yeah,
I hear things.
It's basically what you're kind of doing.
Yeah, I mean, I just think when you first started talking about the units, and I first started getting into this, I was like, first thing that popped in my head was, why don't I just bet it at that day what I start with? Because if you're supposed to bet proportional to your bankroll, then it should be proportional every day. I mean, well, that's my question originally was, because you put out, let's say on those days you guys were putting out like 20 bets. I mean, when I get down to the 10th bet, like in my bankroll, and not even, I mean, as each one, but then you obviously can't do that because all the bets should be weighted on that day as the same weight. But the next day, then I was like, and adjust it to that.
Yeah,
I like it.
Exactly.
Well, do you want to? I actually have a question, a mailbag question, if you guys want to get into it, because I think it has to kind of do with this.
Yeah, let's get into it. I want another beer though. Can I get another? I'll get it.
Yeah, no,
you
I got
the
it.
question.
No, I got. No, I got.
Let me get it.
No,
let me get it.
Okay. But this question is for you. Grab one too, Coors Light.
I'm gonna go get another beer.
Yeah. So
I'll get one more too, please.
You want one, Kris?
Yeah, Coors Light, please.
Coors Light
and another Lucky.
So I'm not gonna get into the question yet, but Jake and I are gonna talk about NBA 2K for a second.
Oh yeah.
I'm just joking. Fucking killed it last night. I had 39 rebounds in a game. I fucking was dominant last night.
Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah, you got to get your jump shot down. We gotta.
Well, I changed the timing, so
yeah, you and Matt always changing your timing around. Okay, so you guys put out a bet today. Well, Scott did. This was there's a team bet that you put out last night. It was a soccer game, and I remember the exact 2 teams that they were playing, but it was under 3.5 goals.
Yeah, it was Troy and Lille.
Okay, you added.
I don't know if I'm doing the correct pronunciation, by the way.
You had it at a -113.
Okay.
I went to bet it this morning, and I got it at +115.
Wow.
So my first
on 3.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't. It might be a different game, but that's how much it moved. Whatever the bet was.
On 3.5.
Maybe there was a line change.
Yeah. No, it was on Bet Online.
Okay.
So my question is, when I saw that, the first thing I thought is, who got hurt or who's not playing? So should I investigate that?
Yes, you should investigate it in soccer. In this particular case, in soccer, if someone gets hurt, it's not going to push it that much. But I think I've talked about this on the podcast before about Itchy with the Clippers bet, or I think it was a Clippers bet. It was something to where it was like, it was crazy. I think it was a Milwaukee Bucks in the regular season. And it was like -12. And then it went down to like -4. And he was like, what's going on? And what he did is he texted me. He's like, hey, what's going on here? And I was like, well, this person, and in basketball, if Giannis gets hurt, I mean, it's gonna be, or in basketball when the coach says, "Hey, the whole starting five's sitting today."
Yes.
Then it's like -12 to -4.
No.
And I was like, well, this is what happened. I told him, I was like, stay away from it. And then the funny thing that happened with that is they won by like 40 that night.
So the bet ended up winning today. I bet it,
yeah.
but I bet it at the same stars because it is soccer. That's the thing because it was basketball, even baseball or football. Yeah, somebody got hurt or something happened. Someone got arrested.
So what probably happened in that one, since it was like the last game of the season and it didn't matter to both teams, there was multiple like that. I just answered my own question with like the whole starting fives out for the NBA. It's probably what happened. I haven't looked into it. I don't know.
So,
but I would guess that like it had to have been a lot of people were sitting. If I can't
find a way to get like I said, it ended up winning. So I'm happy. But if I can't find why it moved and I don't have enough time to text you, because that's what happened. I could have bet it last night, but I just didn't. And then I was waiting for my oil to get changed. And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to put my bets in today. And I did it. And I was like, I don't have time. There was like literally 20 minutes left. So what's your recommendation for both of you on if a line moves? It's not even so much the line moved 20, 30 points. It's the direction it moved though.
Away and you think you're like, yes,
so to me, yeah,
that helped me out, but it's suspicious.
Yeah, to me, I was suspicious. Like, so I'm getting a way better line on this. That there's someone knows something.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what it is. And the answer is, I think you need a lot of hours in sports betting. You need to like be doing this for like years and know the different nuances of the different things that could happen according to sports. So like in this situation, like if it was NBA, I would automatically know like, what is this? The Spurs?
Yeah.
Because Popovich is probably like sitting everybody.
Yep.
Something like that. But like with soccer, that doesn't usually happen. But if you follow soccer and you're like looking at these bets, and I've put out a lot less soccer. I've put out a lot less bets in general.
Lower stars too.
Lower stars has to a little bit. It has to do with the losing streak, but it also has to do with the season that we're in. MLB is taking off. Usually I'm pretty good at that, not doing that great. But then all the other seasons are closing out. And when seasons are closing out, it's not the best time to do bets. So like soccer bets, I used to put out like 20 on the weekend or more.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's not that many because the seasons are closing out. So it's because of situations like this, because if I'm putting out a bet and I want to put it out to like all of our American customers, some people might not be waking up in time for all of these like European lineups, because the lineups come out in soccer like baseball, where the lineup comes out like an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game. And so the lines change drastically. And that's one of the reasons why we need to like switch, why we need a separate Twitter unit account and our personal account, not Twitter unit, but ROI, because like our personal account, if you saw the spreadsheet of my bets, it's way more than I can put out to the customers, because there's so many bets that I put out 10 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
That I make personally, not put out, that I make personally. But so to answer your question, it's nuances. It's just knowing it. I think you gotta inherently know it. You could text me.
Wait,
if you want to text me,
but
I might not get back that quick.
I mean, I've scaled my bets back so much right now because of the bonus that got taken from me, and I'm just like down. Whatever. It's like such a small bet. Like I think I walked it back a little bit and might have done a half star on it.
I got an idea. So what if we just use Discord for questions like that?
The only thing that I would say with that is the number one way to get a hold of me personally, I'm not talking about player props, but me, is text.
Yeah. Okay.
If you put it out on Discord, I might not see, because your question is a time crunch.
Yeah.
It's like, I need the answer now.
Yeah. Okay.
Fuck, you can even call me, but calling doesn't always work with me. I answer texts back faster than phone calls.
Okay.
I hate when someone calls me. I'm like, fuck. Like, well, how long is this person going to talk for? Just fucking. Do you have a question that you want to ask? Just ask it to me through text.
And the thing is, I like text because it like makes a record of everything.
Yeah.
Our phone call doesn't have the record, so we can like look back at what we said. And then also, I am doing stuff like it's a little bit has to do with my day job where I'm a carpet cleaner. If somebody wants an appointment for carpet cleaning and they call me, I might not, if they give me a bunch of information, I might not be able to put it into my system.
Yeah.
So I need a text message for a record. It's all about having a record. So if you text me, I text crazy. I'm constantly looking at my phone for texting.
It's funny, our little text group, the three of us, like Scott, when I came in today, I was like, I'm sorry I bombarded you guys with all that shit. And Scott's like, I do it all the time. And it's like, I feel like you and I are constantly bombarding like the three of us. And Jake's liking a bunch of our
I'm a texting whore. Well, Jake's different. Jake just doesn't look at text. So then he like, I don't know what it's called when you, what is it called when you like group your work together in a certain
batching
time?
or whatever.
Yeah. You batch
Time
text.
Yeah.
You do, because I'm in 3 different text groups with them.
He batch texts.
Yeah.
But I understand that he does that.
It's a compartmentalizing, like, and okay, this is my time of day to text.
I mean, if I'm trying to keep up with text and looking for pics,
I know,
doing
or working, I know, like
crazy.
you're down to the docs.
I can't answer people and do research and
I'm not complaining.
No, I know you're not complaining. It's just not
funny.
how it works.
It's a certain personality that likes a certain thing.
Yeah, I know.
I'm such a huge texter. My wife's a big texter.
Yeah.
I often tell people, they're like, you guys seem so happy. Like, what is the secret to your happiness? We've been married 7 years and like we have a really good relationship. And I always tell people our texting relationship is second to none. We have our
That's
texting
awesome.
Relationship is amazing. We actually sometimes, if we very rarely get in fights, but if we get in a fight, we'll go in opposite rooms and just text each other.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And have the fight through text
with
because
emojis,
if you say,
like showing you're mad and stuff.
Yeah, and then you like say something, you're like, well, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Delete.
Dude, that is,
I need to figure out a different way to say this.
That's a great idea, actually.
Our texting relationship is second to none, and that's what like guides our whole thing. So when she goes to work and I go to work, that's when we converse. That's when we're like talking. Then when we get home, we're like, what's going on? And then we don't really say that much. So that's my recommendation.
That is a great recommendation.
That's my recommendation. Is like try to transverse like the tough parts of your relationship with your girl through text. Because I say shit all the time. I say stuff that's off the top of my head, and then I'll say it and I'll be like, I don't really mean that. I shouldn't have said that. But if I do it in text, I can look at it and go like, no, delete. All right. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube, You Bet Smart Podcast, and check us out on Twitter at You Bet Smart. Also, subscribe to this podcast and give us 5 stars. And what's the other one that I wanted to do?
YouTube, TikTok.
TikTok, that's it. At You Bet Smart at TikTok. Check us out, guys, and we will not guarantee that we won't get this drunk on the next podcast.